Hey guys, it's Miss Narez here with another art lesson from my home studio in Coppell, Texas. Okay guys, we're back for part 2 of our masked self-portrait, and today we're going to be talking a lot about color. But before we talk about color, I want to make sure that each of you outline your self-portraits with a marker. You can choose a Sharpie marker like I'm using. You could use Crayola markers. You could use all black, or you could even use the color that you want each part of your drawing to be. So if you have brown hair, maybe you use a brown marker. It's all up to you, but we're gonna all cover up every single pencil mark that we've made with a marker. And once we've done that, I need you to be kind of like a pencil line detective to make sure you found each and every line. And any lines that are still sticking out of the marker when we're done, we're going to use an eraser. I'll show you. I'm going to start with my big giant box of 120 crayons. That's a lot of crayons, guys. So many different colors to choose from. How will I choose? Well, to start with, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to find the 6 colors of the most basic color wheel. So we'll start with finding red, then orange, then yellow, then green, then blue, and violet. And when we get those 6 colors, we'll talk a little bit more about how we can use them. Whew, that was a lot of work. I found my 6 colors of the color wheel: red, orange, then yellow. Next will be green, blue, and violet. You can also call this one purple. So these are our 6 basic colors of the color wheel. The color wheel is a tool that artists use to help them learn how colors work together. Like red and orange are 2 colors that go really nicely together. They sit next to each other on the color wheel, just like orange and yellow. And green and yellow as well. Green and blue. Blue and violet. And then also violet and red. When you talk about colors that sit next to one another on the color wheel, we have a fancy word for that. It's called analogous colors. I like to think of analogous colors as being best friends, because best friends love to sit next to each other and they get along really well. They look great next to one another when used in art. So the first thing I'd like for you to do is pick 2 colors that you like to use that sit next to one another on the color wheel. And we're going to use those 2 colors to color in our mask, but we're going to be using some color blending techniques. Instead of just coloring our mask with one color, we'll use both colors, and I can't wait for you to see what a beautiful effect happens when you're using colors on top of one another, layering them and blending them together. It just really creates a whole new color, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So I'm going to go ahead and finish coloring in my mask with my 2 analogous best friend colors, blue and green, and I want you to do the same, but you get to pick your 2 colors. Remember, they need to sit next to one another on the color wheel to be analogous. And now for one of blue's best friends, we're going to add a little green. Notice that Miss Narez is coloring in the same direction. This helps your art look much more pleasing. If you go and up and down and side to side and diagonal all over the place, it kind of looks a little more scribble scrabble. And look how great this looks. I just love blending colors together, especially analogous colors. When you mix 2 colors together that sit next to one another on the color wheel, you create a whole nother color. And these colors are called tertiary colors or intermediate colors. I'll show you. Let's take a look at our crayon box again and see if we can find some intermediate colors. Remember, that happens when you mix 2 colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel, just like green and blue. You can always call your intermediate colors by their real name. Like right now, I'm looking for a crayon that's mixing blue and green together. You can call it blue-green. but oftentimes they have nicknames like teal or turquoise. So I'm going to take a look through my box and see if I can find each one of the intermediate colors, and then I'll show you what they are. So here we have 6 intermediate or tertiary colors. The first one I found is a mixture of red and violet. We can call it red-violet. Another one I found is yellow-green. Here's yellow-orange, red-orange, blue-green, and blue-violet. My blue-green crayon had a nickname called turquoise. My blue-violet had a nickname called indigo. So, if you've ever studied the rainbow, you might remember that when we look at the rainbow, we have 7 colors, including indigo. So that's pretty interesting. So now I would like for you to pick the color that is blended together. Like I used blue and green, so I'm going to use this blue-green to add a 3rd layer of colors. So I'm adding turquoise to the top, and it's really going to set it off. So find the color that goes along with your 2 analogous colors. It's the 2 colors you chose and what they look like when they're mixed together. And we call them intermediates or tertiary colors. Next, I'd like to introduce you to a few colors that are not on the color wheel, and these colors are called the neutral colors. They're not on a team. They're not on the warm color team. They're not on the cool color team. They're a team of their own. They're neutral. Those colors are white, black, brown, and gray. I'll find them and show you. Okay, so I found all my neutral colors. Now let's use these neutral colors first for our skin tone. There are millions of different people in the world, and each of us have our very own skin tone. But when we use color blending, it can kind of help us to make sure we get a closer match to ourselves. Instead of just using one color crayon, we can layer them just like we did with our mask. So I'm going to start with this peach color, and I'm going to color in one direction, and I'm going to color very lightly. If you color really with a lot of pressure at this moment, when you use other colors with it, you may not get as much of a blend. You may not see all the colors that you've used. So I'm starting with this peach, and then I'm going to move on and add a few layers of other color. Watch this. And now I'll use this tan crayon. It's a little darker than the peach, and I'll layer over the peach with my tan, and we'll create a whole new skin tone. That's looking really great. Now I think I'll use a little bit darker value. I'll use the brown this time, very lightly, to darken my skin color a little bit. But you're going to need to decide how far you would like to go with your skin color. Whether you want to leave it a little lighter or go a little darker, it's all up to you. Either way you choose, it's going to be so beautiful. Why? Because it looks like you. Let's work on our hair next. I'm going to use a blend of black and brown for my hair today. You need to decide what 2 colors you think would look great together. Or maybe you think that your hair is just all the way black, so you might want to color it all the way black or all the way brown. But I really encourage you to try blending 2 colors together. And in this case, I'm even leaving some areas white so that when I do come back with the brown, it will have a good place to show up. And it's also going to kind of create a good texture. It's going to make it look as though I have lots of hairs instead of just one shape for my hair. If I made it all one color, it would just look kind of flat, and layering colors can help it look much better. I think I'll add just a little bit more black. Oh yeah, that looks really nice. Now I think I'll work on my eye color. In your eye, there is a ring of color. Some people have brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. I've heard kids tell me they have black eyes, but I really think that it's maybe just a really dark brown. My eyes are kind of blue, but I'm going to layer blue and gray together because my eyes are blue, but they're not really bright. They're kind of a dull, kind of a country blue. So this gray will help tone that down a little bit. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish off my face by adding some color inside the mouth. I'll use a little bit of black very softly for the background. And a little red for my tongue. That's better. Oh, look what I forgot. My masked self-portrait on the front page didn't get all those layers of color, so I'll go ahead and finish that now. I'm going to need you to add all 3 layers. Okay, now we're going to look at the color wheel a little bit differently. Before we were looking at colors that were side by side. Now we're going to put a group of colors together. Half of this color wheel is the warm colors, red, orange, and yellow. This other half are the cool colors, violet, blue, and green. I would like for you to choose either a warm color scheme or a cool color scheme to color in your shirt. I think I'm going to go with a warm color scheme since I already used blue and green, but I haven't used any red, orange, or yellow. So I'll get out those colors, but I'm going to pick some fun ones. My box is full of so many fun colors. There's just so many choices, so I'll try to stay in my warm color family, but choose some different exciting ones, and we can look at the names of these colors too. That's one of my favorite things to do with Crayola crayons is to read the names that they come up with. So let's see what we can find. Okay, I have my 3 colors picked out. They're all on one side of the color wheel on the warm side with red, orange, and yellow. You could also choose the other side with green, blue, and violet. And now I'm going to show you how we can use these crayons. Now remember, I chose these 3 colors because I have already used the other side of the color wheel and I want to have a little variety. So that's why I'm changing it up. I'm going to start with this fun color. It's called Wild Watermelon. So I'm actually going to make a color block. I'm going to color in almost like a really thick stripe of wild watermelon at the bottom of my paper. And then I'm going to move on to the other colors, and I'll even overlap the colors a bit to get a good blend going. But I'm also going to try to keep some of the colors separate by making these stripes. So in the end, our colors will change gradually from one to the next. Next up, I'll be using Neon Carrot. Oh, I love this color. Now that I have this thick stripe of Neon Carrot, I can do the rest of my shirt with the last color I picked. This color is a really fun name. It's a rhyming color. It's called Unmellow Yellow. Unmellow Yellow. I like it. It's not so mellow. It's not kind of chill. It's kind of bright. I like it. But I'm going to put a little on top of my other colors to let them all kind of join together. And I'll finish this up and we'll move on to the background. So now I want to think about the colors I'll use for the background. I'm going to take a look at my color wheel and decide which colors I have used the least amount of. I've used my warm colors and my 2 blue and greens. The color I don't see is purple and blue. So purple and blue are going to be my background. I picked out 4 different awesome colors to use, and I'm going to start by coloring in only part of the background and leaving some of it white like this. Don't forget to color in one direction. And now that I'm leaving some of these areas a little bit blank, it'll allow some of my other colors that I use to show through a little better. So watch as I complete all 4 of my blue and purple color. And now for another layer. This time we're looking a little bit more purple. I'm going to layer this color over, still saving a little bit of room for a couple more colors. All right, now one more color. Oh, this is starting to look really great. Trying now to make sure I get all those white spots filled in. And now for that final color to bring them all together. Oopsie, forgot the mask portion again. Oh, now we're much better. All right, guys, look how beautiful our color blending project came out today. I cannot wait to see your art. I hope you had a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time.